everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily Show YouTube channel. The best way to support the show on this YouTube channel is to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, and or share it with a friend. I hope that you guys enjoy this episode, and whichever way you choose to support the show, I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. I hope that today's message and episode brings some bit of positive change to your life. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily Show. I am your host, Emily Hayden, and today's guest is joining us from the East Coast. We have Ari Hasanaj with us today. He's an entrepreneur, the founder and CEO of Project Stand Together, and he originally went viral on TikTok by passing out signs that state, and I'll read it now, "We do not discriminate against any customer based on sex, gender, race, creed, age, vaccinated or unvaccinated. All customers who wish to patronize are welcome in our establishment. Hashtag stand together." So, all right, everybody, please welcome Ari to the show. Ari, welcome.
Hello, everybody.
I'm stoked to talk to you today. Yeah, of course. Okay, tell me a little bit about, before we get into what this has turned into, which has turned into a national movement. First, who are you and why did you decide to start passing out these signs? What inspired you to create the sign in the first place? Give me a little bit backstory on who you are, where you're from, and why you were passionate about this in the first place.
Well, I'm Ari Hasanaj. I'm from New York City. I pretty much grew up here all my life. I would say I'm pretty libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
I like freedom a lot. And when I saw what was going on with these mandates, especially in New York City, I was very upset. I didn't like to see that there was so many people who were unable to go to a restaurant or go to their favorite bar or something, without having a vaccine card. It seemed very off. It was, it represented it showed discrimination against people that were unable to go and do whatever they wanted to do in their own city.
Mm-hmm.
So I had seen the sign in Brooklyn from Rocco's Pastry, and I was wondering what could I do to stop these mandates, because I wasn't allowed to go into my own gym. Actually, it came to a point that I was going to my gym every morning, and one morning the guy at the front desk, he told me, he was like, "Hey, you can't come back here anymore unless you have your vaccine card." I was like, "Bro, are you serious? This is really America right now? This is what we're dealing with?" And I didn't believe it. I was kind of shocked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just I don't know. I decided to print out these signs, and I went door to door and recorded it, and the video blew up. I posted onto TikTok, and people wanted to get involved all across the country.
It's pretty cool because it kind of gives you a good reading of the audience, right? TikTok's the new social media, the hot platform, and things go viral there for a reason. And I think the overwhelming support of your overall message really speaks volumes to what I believe the majority of people really do feel, which is that we should live in a free country. We should protect the freedom of this country and protect that on all, with everything, race, gender, vaccinated, unvaccinated, everything that you mentioned. So I think what you're doing, it just gives people a voice that maybe don't really know how to voice it. And it gives people a place of unity, right? Because people can get so singularly focused in arguing over their different beliefs. But where we come together is actually in unity of let's protect the fact that we can believe differently.
Yeah, I agreed. And the thing is, with my movement, is a lot of people agree with it. It's not a left or a right kind of thing. It's not black and white. It's not the media tries to divide us and make us look like more people don't want freedom. But realistically speaking, it's probably 20% of the far left that agree with the mandates, because they're just so brainwashed, and nobody can really help them at this point. But for the most part, America really doesn't want to see vaccine mandates. It's a pretty ugly thing to watch. If it's raining outside or if it's freezing outside, you're gonna have people that are unvaccinated eating outside, which is sad. That's not how you treat human beings. So what I found was, I even had socialists in New York City come up to me, they had their own protests and stuff, and they would come up to me and be like, "Hey, I agree with what you're doing." I was like, "What?
Wow.
You guys, what?" Yeah. So it's you would be very surprised how many people in America really do not want to see these mandates happen, and the media is making it seem like it's so divided, but it's really not. that's why all my videos are blowing up. Like, that's why this movement is blowing up. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I could see it. Like,
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about when you initially went into the businesses. What was the conversation that you brought up? How did you go about that conversation about the sign and just your belief on it and getting them to, express their belief and to ultimately agree to put the sign up?
yeah. So what I do is I go into a business and then I ask to speak to like a manager or the owner, and I just start a conversation with them. Like, I have a heart to heart with them. Like, I ask them, hey, how are these mandates affecting you? Like, how's it going? Like, I know it's pretty messed up probably, right?
Mm.
And then from there, you could kind of get a sense of like how they would respond to you, like showing them the sign, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like the guys that are going to end up saying like, oh my God, it's horrible. Like, my business is doing so bad. I can't believe this and that. Then I'm like, okay, I have a perfect solution. Like, we're starting this national movement, and people are getting involved all over the country. And even in your own neighborhood, there's signs going up. I was like, and then I just tell them like, would you like to join? Like, and I show them the sign, and 80% of them are like, oh my God, this is sick. Yes, put it up, please.
That's
And yeah,
awesome.
that's how it goes. Yeah, it's sick. It's a great feeling actually. Like, the people that go out there and like pass out the signs themselves, it's like very refreshing
Mm.
to see how many people actually support what we're doing.
And I think it's important to have that face to face. Like you said, you're going door to door, right? Because you're getting your own lived experience of what people actually think versus just gaining your, perception from the media, which, or depending
Yeah.
on which old media outlet you watch, they have different narratives that they want to push. So I think what it does is it gives you a good dose of reality to show you what's actually going on, how people actually
Yeah.
think and feel. And, it can really help you just to get a real sense of what's going on here.
Yeah, it's true. Like, when you watch the news or when you go on Twitter or something, you would think the whole world is like burning and like
Right.
everything is completely gone, right? But then you go outside and it's like, oh wait, everybody's still normal. Like, this
Yeah.
is, it's not what it, it's not like, it's not what they show us, it's not what they tell us it is. Like, we have to just, if we want to get rid of these mandates, we have to like stand behind like a whole solid movement and just stand together against it, because what are they going to do? Like, we all, like, if nobody complies, what are they going to do? Put us all in jail, fire all of us? No, they're not. They can't. They have no, what are they going to do? They have
Yeah.
to listen to us. We the people. Like, this is our country. It's not their country. They work for us,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to show them.
Tell me a little bit more about Project Stand Together. Tell me about how people can be involved, the mission behind it. What's the date that we're looking forward to? Just tell me all about it.
Okay, so the mission behind Project Stand Together is to get rid of all vaccine mandates, specifically for COVID, the COVID vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see, I don't want to see people getting fired over
Mm-hmm.
not having the vaccine. I think it's wrong, and I know everybody else does too. So the whole goal is to get everybody to not comply. Like, I started a national walkout, and the deadline for the walkout is on November 10th. So I'm hoping to get at least 20 million signatures. Right now we're at like 200,000.
Mm-hmm.
We're still early. I know the time is running out, but we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to get a bunch of signatures and then send it to Congress and give them the deadline. Like, hey, if you guys don't want 20 million people to walk out of their jobs, which could be a disaster for our country, you have to listen to us. Like,
Mm-hmm.
get rid of these mandates, do something. Nobody wants these. Here are the numbers, here are the signatures. Get it done. I don't care what you guys have to do. I want to see Nancy Pelosi scrambling in Congress, like, oh my God, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
let's make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So I will place a link down below, and at that link, you guys can go and sign it, and then also share it with every single person that you know. Post it on your social media
absolutely.
accounts. Spread the word, because we have a worldwide audience here. So regardless if you live in the U.S. and you can sign it or not, still spread the word and get the message out of what we're doing. Because I know for myself, when I see other countries that are taking a stand and fighting back, I myself am inspired for us in our country here. So I think it's good to share with each other like what's actually going on.
Agreed. There's only so much that I could do, right? Most of the work happens within like the whole like world, like within the communities.
Mm.
People getting the word out to their cousins or their colleagues. That helps a lot. So I think, yeah, everybody should definitely share this if they agree with what's going on. Sign the petition, and we're tackling this from both fronts. Actually, we're getting businesses involved with the
Mm-hmm.
signs.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to get them to not comply, and we're also getting the entire country involved. Like, anybody that has a job, can just sign the petition and stand. If they want to not comply, they're going to do it with millions of other people. They're not going to be alone. Like, you don't have to do this alone. Like, don't be scared.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we all do this together, I'm like 100% positive they have to listen to us.
Someone shared with me on social media a very small account of this, of what it would look like, but it was, I believe, a dentist office who they were mandating the vaccine, and a bunch of them got together, and the majority of them didn't want to get it. So they said, respectfully, if that's what you choose, we all were walking out. And they reversed that policy, and that mandate is no more.
That's
and they're
sick.
all happily working, choosing freedom of, having medical freedom. So it really does show you that the power is in the people, and that's a very small scale. And what we hope to do is on a very national scale. And I think
that's what's going to work.
Yeah. And I think what's very important to note here is that at this current moment in time, we're fighting for the freedom of medical choice. And so there's people that maybe they're okay with a mandate, right? There's a small amount of people that they're okay with a mandate. Are you going to be okay with a mandate that is something that you don't agree with? Because if you think that this is where it stops, you're completely wrong. Like, if they're able to mandate something like this on us, they're going to mandate something in a category that you were completely against. And then you're going to wish that you had stood with us in unity to fight for freedom for all, to fight for medical freedom, fight for freedom of speech, fight for freedom to live, breathe, think, however it is that you see best fit for you and your family. So I think it's important that people recognize the bigger picture here and not get so hyper focused on the issue, but look at just the bigger picture of freedom for all.
Agreed. I think this is just the beginning. Like, they're trying, like, the people that are controlling this country and this world, I think they have like a bigger goal in mind. Like, they want to have full control over humanity, and having like vaccine passports and like all these other things, like social media censorship, like controlling what you see and what you do, like that just leads to them having more control and more power over everybody. And that's not what we want. That's not a healthy way for human beings to live. Humans want to be free. We need freedom, like to be happy and to live good lives. And I think that's very important. Like, we shouldn't let that vision go just because people have a little bit of fear over a virus that has a 99.7% survival rate. Like, it's just sad.
Yeah, it is.
So,
I think about those people that truly are in fear of it. And it really does, like, I have compassion for them. It's sad to be so scared by something. And here's the thing, the ratings and reviews for whether it's, social media or the major media outlets, they do best on things that incite and elicit emotion. So if they're eliciting this emotion of fear all the time, they are gaining that control over you. They're keeping that, that fear. Whatever you feed grows. So if you're feeding your fear all the time by listening to these outlets or even social media or just looking at, all the scary numbers and all the scary percentage rates and whatever, then you're going to create more fear inside of your life. So I think it's really important to really just kind of ground yourself in the facts of what is, ground yourself in the truth, and ground yourself in what is reality. And to know what reality is, you got to get away from the screens of what everybody else is telling you is reality, even a podcast, even a social media, no matter what, you have to go get your own lived experience. Until you have your own lived experience, you're just taking everybody's word for what it is. And I don't know, for me, I'd rather have my own experience to know for myself versus just trust anyone that tells me something.
Yeah, that's very true. I was going to say that people need to step out of their little bubble and, like, just look at the world and think logically, like, just stop listening to all the fear. Like, that's what the CIA was working on for a very long time with like MK Ultra and stuff. Like, they were learning about how they can control people through like fear and like basic like propaganda, and like they're doing a good job, but we got to stop it because, we can't keep living like this. Like, we have to be free. We got to get our freedoms back. I
agree. You mentioned that you're getting businesses involved, and that's another way for people in their communities to get involved. So, what is your call to action for those individuals that want to be a part of helping businesses get on board?
So if anybody wants to go door to door and pass out these signs with the businesses, you can do it in 10 cities right now. We're in New York City, LA, Philly, Chicago, Indianapolis, Charlotte, Columbus. I forgot the other two. San Diego. Did I say San Diego?
I don't think
San Francisco, San Jose. Yeah, San Jose and San Francisco. I forgot those two. So yeah, we're in those 10 cities, and you can go to our website at projectstandtogether.com, and you could sign up, and we'll keep you guys updated on the protests. We just added like an extra page, but go to the website, go to the volunteer section, and you can get involved in your city if you live in one of those 10 cities. We're actually planning on expanding to the top 100 cities in America, so that we can really go nationwide, and just get every business involved in every corner of this country. But that would take at least like $10 million in donations, and we're working on raising more money. So if you guys want to donate, you could also help by going to donate.
Awesome. Well, I think it's really important what you're doing here. What is kind of the long-term goal of this? Obviously the no mandates, right? But do you guys have any plans for, like, let's say that we don't hit our goal by then, let's say that for some reason it doesn't work. Have you guys thought beyond that?
No, we don't have a plan B.
Yeah.
We plan on winning. We're going to get Biden to back down from these mandates, and it's going to happen one way or another.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, okay. Tell me a little bit more about just your, Project Stand Together and everything that you have going on there. Tell me a little bit more about, like, why this is so important to you and why you think that everyone in America needs to get on board with this and share it with everyone that they know.
Okay. So basically, freedom. We have to stop letting these people take our rights. For the past couple of years, it's like, even before coronavirus, they have been slowly like inching towards like taking away more and more and more of our rights, and nobody is doing anything. Like, people complain constantly on social media, and nobody does anything about it. That's like, I hear politicians complaining all the time, like, oh, they're going to take our guns, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, but like, nobody is doing anything. Like, where are people that where is everybody that's standing up and actually doing something about it to stop these people from taking our rights? So Project Stand Together is a movement that we don't complain. We get out there and we actually do something. We're done. We're sick and tired of like listening to politicians complain and doing nothing in Congress and just blah blah blah, right? Like that girl Greta Thunberg said. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we're just sick and tired of like hearing these people complaining. Like, I don't know, we have to do something. So that's basically what I did. I was like, all right, nobody's doing anything. 70% of Black people are affected by this, and Black Lives Matter is not doing anything. Like, all these conservative influencers, they keep complaining, nobody's doing anything. They keep posting their memes, they don't really care. Okay, somebody has to do something. If it's not me, then who's gonna do this? So I'm an entrepreneur. I kind of know how to like manage businesses and like do things. So here I am now. The movement's growing, and thank God, because somebody had to do something.
Yeah, no kidding. So you're wearing a shirt that says Patriot from Official Patriot Gear. Yeah. What's up, Ian? We love you. Tell me, Ian. What does that mean to you? What does Patriot mean to you?
All right, being a patriot is in America, I'd say being a patriot is loving your country, like loving freedom, loving our Constitution, loving our history. I know we've had some pretty bad like things happen in our history, but everybody has that. Like, that's just history. History was ugly in the past for every country in the world. I think our history is better than other countries. Like England, they had slaves and all that other stuff. Like, it's history is ugly, but you have to love our country, because there's no country in this world, in our history, like in human history, that had this much like freedom. And like, you never had, like, women's rights came from having the voice to get out there and to show like who you really are as a human being. And you can't do that in other countries. Like, it's hard. Like, look at Australia. Australia is done. They lost their rights to bear arms, and now they're losing everything. I see them in my DMs all the time. They're like, please do something. Like, don't let this happen to your country. You guys are literally the last stand. Like, I'm like, I know, I'm trying, but
wow,
I need everybody else to get behind me.
Yeah. Speaking of your Instagram recently got hacked. Tell me about that.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. All I saw was I got an email saying somebody logged into your account in Florida, and there you go. I just lost it, but I'm working on getting it back. They messed with the wrong guys. So,
you are the third or fourth person that I've had on my podcast whose Instagram has been hacked or deleted. and heavily censored. So I know you created a new account, which I'll have linked down below. One of them did get their accounts back, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of hope. After a while, she thought it was gone for forever, but she eventually got it back. But what do you see on social media as far as the censorship goes? Even like before you got hacked, like did you experience any of that yourself?
Yeah, I did. Actually, when my account started to blow up, when I started getting all my followers and stuff, and when my movement started to grow, Instagram hit me with like so many random, like something I posted like a year ago, and they're like, "Oh, this is being flagged and your account might be deleted." I was like, "What?
Wow.
What? That was a year ago. What are you guys doing? Like,
Wow.
what are you guys gonna do to everybody in this world? Like, anything you say, they could just say, "Oh, okay, we're gonna you violated our community guidelines." It's so bad. I think freedom of speech is one of the most important things in our country, along with having our right to bear arms. So it bothers me very much what's going on with social media censorship, and I plan on tackling that actually after we get rid of these mandates, because we cannot let this happen anymore in our country. And I'm kind of disappointed that Donald Trump didn't do enough to stop social media censorship. Like he kind of had the power as when he was a president to do something, but he really didn't do much. And I don't know. I think somebody has to do something, and I'm trying to figure out ways on how I could tackle the issue. And I'm just brainstorming a bunch of things, but I'll figure something out, and we'll knock on their door.
Did you happen to see that Donald Trump is starting a new platform?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty cool.
Are you going to be on it?
Probably, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And I think, I think that was his move, was creating this, new platform. So I'm excited to see how that goes and see what it's like, and, who ends up being on that platform. And, I just think that where we've gotten, especially on Instagram, even on TikTok, is just, it's something that should raise a red flag for everybody, even if you're on social media or not, when the speech is being so censored and so manipulated and so controlled. You just have to ask yourself why, and what would be the intention of that? What is the purpose of that? What is the narrative that they're trying to either silence, or the narrative that they're trying to push, right? All these questions are good questions to help people critically think, because, even if, let's say that they were pushing my narrative, right, and silencing somebody else, that would make me feel really uncomfortable, because I'd be like, wait, why are they not allowed to share what it is that they think and believe? And that would really bother me and upset me. It's funny because I also like, just my personality, I'm like a protector at heart, right? So if I see that happening to somebody else, I'm going to step in and say something about it. And
of course, I think I would do the same.
Yeah, I mean, clearly you are doing the same, very much so. And I think that's what we have to do, is we have to be there for each other, because we're on the same team here. Like, us as citizens of the United States of America, we are on the same team. It's us versus them, and them meaning the politicians, not not any other subgroup. Like, we are one group. We are all Americans. We are all in this together. And I think the more that we can, more that we can encourage that narrative and, show that narrative to people, that we are Americans and we are on the same team, the more people can kind of like put their guards down when they realize that they don't agree with somebody, and the more that they can, come together and be unified on things. And I think unity is where we need to be, not all of this, separation.
Agreed. Yeah. That was beautifully said.
Yeah. So, okay. So you created your new social media account. Are you just on Instagram? Or are you also on other platforms?
No, I mean, I'm mostly on Instagram. I'm kind of on Twitter, TikTok. Obviously, I have like 100,000 followers, I think. TikTok is getting a little weird for me, because I'm starting to post again, like a little more. And usually when I post, all my videos blow up, and I'm still making the same quality content. And my last video that I just posted hasn't really blown up. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like, I guess maybe it's like my ego, but like, it's a little weird. Like, they've been banning my stuff for a little while too. Like, I haven't been able to post like often, and it's getting fishy.
It's really frustrating, for sure. What I found is, because I've been on social media since like 2013, doing this as like a business, I really found that you can't create content for the engagement of likes and comments. Previously, that used to work, and that's how I built my following and my audience to what it is now. But now, if you gauge your content based on the feedback, you don't realize that like the feedback is very skewed, because they are censoring you, or you're not showing you. A lot of people say they can't even find me. They have to like search my name fully, and then they have to like go through all these hoops just to get to me, when that used to not be an issue. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced it with like when I try searching the typical liberal, you have to literally spell the entire page out. Like you cannot, it won't give you the suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it happen all the time. I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah. And I think that's why, what you're doing is really important. I did have a question,
Thank you.
when you were sending out or giving out those signs in New York, what kinds of people and groups of people were you approaching? Because New York's a very diverse environment, right? So I'm curious, like, because I think sometimes when people have a misconception of what the patriots or freedom people are, they kind of view it as like, I don't know, country or white or, all like, guns and just like the far, far, far extreme right, which honestly, like,
Yeah.
I don't ever see any of that, to be honest. But like, what's the groups of people that you're actually talking to that agree with the freedom and the no mandate?
Yeah, so a lot of people are kind of surprised by this, but I'm not because I know because I'm an immigrant, but it's all the immigrants. Like most of the shops that are putting them up, they come from different countries. Like, they're entrepreneurs. They're actually the people that tell us that like curse us out and tell us to leave are like white liberal American people in
Wow.
the city. Yeah. Everybody else, like black people, the Hispanics, the Albanians, the Russians, all those people, they love it. Like they are so against these mandates, because they came to this country for a reason. Like they came here for freedom and they're taking those rights away from them. And the only people that are doing nothing about it are the extreme left, like white Americans. Like they're so brainwashed. I don't know what's wrong with them, but we got to get on the same page here. And I love that these immigrant groups are fighting for us. I have a lot of immigrants coming out and helping me. So it's amazing. Like I have them in my DMs all the time. Like they're like, thank you so much for what you're doing. I'm like, hey, I understand. Like, my dad was an immigrant. Like we understand. We can't let, this is our country. Like we can't let this happen to our country.
Wow, that's incredible. And I've spoken to a lot of immigrants as well that feel the same way. And to me, that like
Yeah.
gives you, because like they have the best perspective, right? They literally left and fled from a country
Yep.
where these things were happening at an extreme level. So if they are raising their eyebrows saying, guys, there's something wrong here, like we have to listen.
Exactly.
Where's your dad from? I'm curious.
He's Albanian. He
Okay.
came from Albania. It's kind of like a third world country in Europe.
Wow.
But yeah, it's a beautiful country. I like it a lot. So Albania had a past with communism, and they know very well what communism does. It destroys countries, and that's what happened to Albania. So we had a war and stuff. So my dad left, and he went to like Germany and a bunch of other countries, but he ended up in America, and thank God he did.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is the greatest country in the world.
Amen. Is your dad still around?
Yeah, he's still here. He's still
Okay.
around.
Is what's his view on all of this?
My dad's he's a Democrat, but he hates the mandates. He's being forced to take the vaccine for his job. He's holding off until like literally the last day because he obviously doesn't want to take it, and he's hoping that I could stop these mandates.
Wow.
So yeah, so let's see what happens. I don't understand how Americans are scared to stand up and fight for the rights when our country is literally like built by people who stood up and actually fought for freedom. Like that's a very important thing for Americans to do, right? Like our founding fathers, they had nothing and they fought the greatest empire in like human history, the British Empire, right? And if they were able to do that, why the hell can't we just not comply? It's very simple, right? Like if people stormed the beaches of Normandy to fight fascism, like why can't people just not comply? It's very simple. Like we're not doing anything too harsh. Like it's not that hard, right? Like all you have to do is not comply with millions of other people. You're not alone. Like I don't really know.
I think they have done such a good job at controlling and manipulating people's perception of what's going on that people perceive that they are the minority. They perceive that believing in freedom and no mandate that they're the minority. But you and I both know very clearly that's so wrong. It's so far from the truth, and that there's so many more people that just believe in simple freedom to choose what you feel is best for you. So I think it's important to recognize that. I wish that, here's the thing. You mentioned these things, right? Like we're not asking you to like storm like a Normandy or whatever.
Yeah.
All we're asking you to do is not comply. But I think people, if I'm being totally honest, have gotten really soft. I think this generation is a lot softer than those generations. We haven't had to do anything like that. You know what I mean? Like especially our generation, like we haven't had to do anything like standing up for our own basic rights and freedom. So I think it seems so out of the box to people that some of them don't even realize what's actually happening. You know, I think about all the people that are staying completely silent and pretending that nothing is going on right now. And they're just continuing on with business because they personally are not affected at the moment. And I genuinely think that they don't grasp the heaviness of what's going on here. Because I feel like if people truly, it's almost like if you could see 5 years down the road of like where this road leads, would you get up and stand up now today? You know, and I think that's,
they would.
Yeah, they would, right? They would be like, oh, hell no, we're not going to end up where that picture shows us 5 years from now, you know? And so I think it's important that people realize and take that time to ask themselves like those questions, you know, because when you do that, you can have this objective stance and really understand like what's going on and what part you want to play, right? We're going to get to the end of this and be like, okay, what part did I play in this? Was I agreeing the whole time? Did I comply? And did I allow this to happen to my country, to my family, to my friends? Or did I fight for something worth fighting for? Did I fight for the fact that now we have freedom over what we do and put into our bodies? You know, so I think it's just a really crucial time in history that we've never experienced, but it's going to be something that's written about in history books forever.
I agree. And the people that are going to be remembered throughout history are going to be the people that stood up and did something about these mandates and about all this. You know, like they're constantly taking our freedom. People have to get up and stop being scared, because if you don't agree with the mandates and you're like, okay, I need my job though, so I'm going to go get the vaccine. Like, you're a part of the problem. Like, that's not what you should be doing, because you know very well where all this is going, yet you went and just, you know, you got the vaccine and like you were being complicit. And I'm not anti-vax, you know. I got the vaccine because my mom she has diabetes and she's like immunocompromised, right? So if you want to go get the vaccine, that's your choice. This is America. Go get the vaccine. If you want it, it's there. That's why they made it, right? Like, they're trying to save lives. And if it's not working and it's not saving lives, then why are you forcing people to get the vaccine? Like, even if it does work, why are you still forcing people to get the vaccine? Like, if it works, they would go get it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, I think I think it's really powerful for you to share your personal story and, you know, your personal decision even, because I think people would probably assume that you're not getting it and that's why you're doing this.
Yeah.
And so I think it's actually even more powerful that you share that you did do that for yourself and, you know, for your family. I don't
like to talk about it because it's nobody's business really, but
Amen.
When people try calling me an anti-vaxxer, I'm like, bro, I'm not anti-vax. I have the vaccine. Like, so what are you trying to say now? Like, what are you going to say to me? And they're like, oh, then they're just stuck. Like, what am I going to say to this kid? He's kind of right.
Wow, that's awesome. No, that's awesome. I love that you share it. And I agree with you. I think it's nobody's business. And I hate how such personal, private details has now become what other people just expect you to tell them. There's this like expectancy, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine like you go to a bar or something and they ask you like for your STD, like your latest STD test again? It's not like, what?
Right.
Like, that's what's going on with the vaccine, but it's to get into any business. Like, you can't go anywhere. You can't even get a job. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that people like, how could people let this happen? I don't know. That's why I think we really have a good chance at like actually stopping this. And if we can grow this movement enough, I really think, you know, if we get the word out, and I think people are going to stand behind this, because this is nuts.
I think so too. And, you know, I want to say to those people that, you know, you mentioned earlier how people complied to get it. And, you know, the truth is maybe some people just complied. They didn't want to fight back. Maybe some people were in a really difficult position, right? Like, if I had like 3 kids to care for and like a wife or husband or whatever, and I was in a really difficult situation, I had no other options, you know, I can't really say what I would do given that circumstance. So for whatever reason that, you know, they ended up going with that, I want to encourage them to still join the fight. I don't want them to feel like they're a failure because they did it. I don't want them to sit there and just feel that in regret they can't join the fight now simply because they complied. I actually hope that those people are able to say, okay, I did comply to keep my job, but I agree that this is wrong, and now I want to do something about it. Now I want to be a part of the solution, you know? And so I hope that those people are brave enough to stand up and to know that like we're with them, and, you know, we don't like look down on them. We don't pain them for any of that, but like, hey, like at this point in time, like join the fight for freedom. Join the fight so that this doesn't continue and it doesn't trickle down to the kids that you had to provide for, right? Because what we're doing now is setting the pace and the tone of what's going to happen in the future and how our children are affected, our, my nieces and nephews. So I think it's important, to recognize that what you do now affects them later.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. People that got the vaccine or they're like, they could still join this movement. Like, I'm vaccinated and I started this movement. So if you're vaccinated, you could also stand with other people who are unvaccinated and being treated unfairly. And I see I have a lot of people in my DMs who are vaccinated and who are liberals and whatever. Like, this is not like left and right or, you know what I mean? But people are standing up and I want to see more of that. Right now we have around like 200,000 signatures for the petition, and we need like 19 million more. That's a lot more in like 18 more days, right? But I think it's going to happen, and I have a few tricks up my sleeve. So let's see what happens.
Everybody listening to this podcast, we have been on a long journey together. And I want to ask you guys if you believe at all in the message, the overall message of this podcast, if you believe in standing together, united, and if you believe in freedom at all, to stop what you're doing right now and click the link down below and sign the form, sign the petition, get your name out there and be a part of this. Share it with everyone that you know. Spread the word as much as possible. Guys, this isn't a small ask. We need 19 million more signatures. We need you guys out there, and we need you guys doing the hard work of, and it's not even hard work. I won't paint it that way, but we do need you doing the work though. It's easy work. You need to text the link, share it with a friend, like just do it, send it and share it and get it signed and spread this message as much as possible, because everyone always asks. They've been asking. I've been vocal about this since it first started. People always ask, okay, what can we do and how can we get involved? This is a very real and tangible way of how to get involved and how to create a change. So don't ask me how to create a change if you haven't signed this. Go and sign this, and then let's keep going and let's keep working together, and let's see us unite together for freedom. Freedom is all that we're asking for here. No, I will rephrase that. Freedom is what we are demanding here, because that is our right.
Beautifully said again.
Any last message that you want to give to the audience or the listeners, or any call to action, or just any last thing that you want to share with them is fine.
If you guys want to get out there and get involved, I created the perfect solution. So if you don't get what you want, like if you have to be forced to take a vaccine for your job, that's on you. That's your fault. Because there's something out there, which is my movement. Like you can get involved. You could share this with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues. You could get out there, pass out these signs. If you own a business, you can buy the signs on the website. There are zero excuses here. If you are losing your rights over some horrible mandates, like, we have the power to actually do something about it. So why not get up and do something about it? Like, there's no other country where you could do that.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's powerful. I think it's important to remember we're the only country that has the power to do this. It's crazy when we have other countries that are looking at us like, come on, guys, you cannot lose this fight.
They're waiting for us to do something. Yeah. Like, I swear, they're like, people were telling me, like, finally somebody in America has the
you'd say it.
Has the balls to do something.
Damn right.
I'm like, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your message, and thank you for getting out there and doing something real.
No problem. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, all the links are going to be down below. His socials will be below. Make sure to give him a follow, support him. Don't forget to sign the petition after you're done listening to the podcast. We would really appreciate it. And if you guys will do me a favor, if you enjoyed this podcast, share it on your Instagram stories, tag both myself and Ari. We would love to hear your feedback, your takeaways, and just what you thought about it, as well as a little check mark saying that you actually signed it. Thanks, guys. Love you. And we'll see you in the next episode.